Welcome to the Mom Owned and Operated Podcast, the podcast about moms and for moms, where we have candid conversations about running a business, raising a family, and remembering ourselves. I'm your host, Rita Suzanne, a single mom of four, digital strategist, and provider of no-nonsense business strategies and tactics. Hi, I'm Rita Suzanne, and today I have my guest, Miriam, with me. Hi, Miriam. Thank you so much for joining us. I am so excited to chat with you. Please tell everyone a little bit about you, your family, and your business.
Hi, Rita. Hello, everybody. So my name is Miriam, and I'm a virtual assistant agency owner for over 6 years now. We are based in the Philippines, but most of our clients, 60% of them are based in the US, and the others are all across the globe. And I have a stepson who is 16 years old, and he is actually currently diagnosed with ADHD, but there has been so many challenges with my kid, but right now we're really very, very happy. And yeah, I think that's it. And I'm so excited to be here with you, Rita, on this podcast.
Well, thank you so much for joining. It's interesting that you say that. I have, as many people know, I have 4 kids. My youngest is 13, and he has epilepsy. But one of the byproducts of epilepsy is ADHD, and so we just put him on medication. I didn't put him on medication many years ago because he was already on too many other medications, but we just put him on medicine for his ADHD, and it has been helping him so much. And so I've noticed a big change in him. And so it's been a huge thing. So I can only imagine, some of the struggles that you've been going through, because we've been going through it ourselves with my son also. So one of the things that I always talk about with my clients is delegating and hiring sooner than you are comfortable with, because I know personally I waited until I felt like I was quote unquote ready, because I was like, oh, I can't afford it. Like I should just wait. But really what it did was I think it took longer for my business to grow because I waited longer. Do you know what I mean? So what do you feel about people who are like, do you feel like they wait too long and then they decide to hire you and then they're like, they don't know how to really delegate?
Yes, actually, that's most of the time when I reach out to clients or when we meet on the very first discovery call, as we call it, they would always say that we're not ready yet. We don't have the budget. We don't know what tasks to assign to the remote worker, to the virtual assistant. But I would always tell them that we will wait for you when you're ready, but the time is now. I would say that's pretty funny, but yeah, the time is now, because right now, when you look at your business and you don't have a process where there is delegation, there is accountability, there is a process in place where these tasks, these very small tasks, if they build up to so many things and you keep doing them every day, every single time for your business, you might be missing some of the things that are supposed to be your focus into growing your network. Like, for example, if you're doing social media all the time, you're doing your TikTok all the time, your videos and all those, it takes too much time of your day. But if you look at delegating these tasks to your virtual assistant, you'd be able to focus more on growing your network and building or talking to more prospects or to more potential clients. So these will help you much more be efficient when it comes to running your business. And at the same time, you'd be able to grow your business out there where people will know you much more better. Like we have one client in the US, Rita, where they are an MSP business. They're just starting, and we we hired the very first remote worker for them, virtual assistant, an executive assistant actually. So the president of the company was able to focus on building network within the chambers in the Eastern Coast, because all of the ad hoc tasks like email, social media, marketing, admin, finance, all of those are being assigned to the virtual assistant or the executive assistant. So all he has to do is just network outside of the business. So that way he'd be able to bring out his business out there for the clients. So the best time really for you to hire your virtual assistant or your remote worker is now. I would say that's the most effective answer. Yeah.
I agree. I think that a lot of times people are so caught up with the busy work of
Yeah.
being inside of their business and that they don't want to relinquish that kind of control and give it to someone else. And then often I find, especially like in the past when I've onboarded client or VAs myself, it's a process. It takes out so much energy for you initially because you
Yes.
have to teach that person
Mm.
how you want the things done, right? And
Yeah.
then it's like such a process. You have to go through the thing, and then if they're not doing it correctly, then you have to go through it again. And some people are not comfortable saying, well, you're not doing it right. So they'll just let them continue to do it incorrectly. And so I think that that's also an issue as well, because they're afraid to really,
Control.
yeah, to say anything about it. So like, how do you guys tackle things like that?
Very good question. And I think most of the clients that we have right now have these kinds of challenges where they are having challenges with letting go of what they can control when it comes to the projects and all that. So that's where our management team will come in. So usually when we onboard a client, we ask if they have a project management tool, a process in place when it comes to tracking projects or tracking tasks for these employees to do. So, for example, on an executive assistant's day to day work, they are expected to have this to do list. For example, on Trello, they have a checklist to follow where the first hour or the first 2 hours is going to be email, second hour is finance, third hour is the weekly meeting and all that. So the process is going to be documented. That's the most important thing, because that's going to help them be organized. So if you are a business owner and you're looking to hire your first virtual assistant, not really an executive assistant, I would say your first virtual assistant, because you feel like you're very overwhelmed and you don't know what to do first. So
Yeah.
all you have to do is this is part of our recruitment form, the very first form that you're going to be getting. You will need to list all of the tasks that you want to delegate to your VA. And then we will look for that perfect person with the right skill set, experience, and qualifications based on what you need. And then we will be shortlisting like 3 candidates that match to what you need and your skill set and qualifications. And then you'll be able to pick which person you would like to work with. So for first time clients that hire, remote workers or virtual assistants, we get to have them on a 2-week trial. So when they decide to go with a second candidate, we tell them, like, proactively, I would tell them that since this is going to be your first time to hire a VA client, it would be better if you are going to do a 2-week trial. It's not going to be paid though, but that's going to be the trial. So that's the period of time where you will be listing all of the lists that you need to, or the tasks that you need to delegate to the VA. And then, so you're expecting for them to do all of those things in that week. And
Yeah.
then every Friday, there's going to be like a catch up meeting with me in the
Mhm.
VA one-on-one, and then me with the client one-on-one. So that way I would know what is his or her experience with the VA, if he was happy or not, or if he wanna move on to the next candidate and then do the test again. Yes.
Yeah. I think I think it's good though to have you meet with them, because then I feel like they would
Yes.
feel more comfortable giving
Mm,
you feedback and maybe
yep.
not directly
Mm,
to the VA,
mm,
because of that potential confrontation, especially um I don't know. Sometimes people are, online businesses, they can maybe just not like to, as solopreneurs don't like to do the confrontation very often.
yes.
I will say that. So so yeah, I love that you do that. A 2-week trial though, that's crazy. So
Yes.
what would you say? I would say that, just based on my experience, that oftentimes the hesitancy that people might have when hiring someone from the Philippines for, overseas work, is just maybe language barrier issues. How do you tackle those issues?
Yes, that's a very good point. And I think that's also one of the few challenges where clients are telling us when this is not going to be the first time that they hired a virtual assistant from outside the country, or if they are based from Asia, and there is always a language barrier when it comes to working with these clients. Our skill set and qualifications, or our hiring process, Rita, was very, very expensive. So initially our hiring process on the VA side is, first they will have their initial screening, right? And then the second screening is going to be the background check. So we cross-reference all of the information that we see from their CV or portfolio, and we ask for references from their previous clients. So that's where HR is going to do that for us. And also there's a language test. So we do them on a language test, which is a written test, and at the same time it's a voice test. So it's like, I don't know if you know Berlitz, but it's very common here. So it's like IELTS, or it's an international English language test here, where you have to pay for a fee and you'll be qualified to do these levels of English, whether it's intermediate, advanced, or native, or whatever. So yeah, so we do those language tests. And then we also, when we present this to clients, we share them the results of these tests.
Okay.
Yeah. And also, it's going to be part of the interviews that I do is that I would always disqualify. This is very funny. So I always disqualify those VAs that really have good skill sets, yes. But if there's really a language barrier, that's really a very, very big challenge, I would say. Based on
Yeah.
my experience for over, I don't know, 8 years, 9 years now doing this kind of job, if you're very high skilled, you are a good graphic designer, or maybe a good let's say programmer, but you have a language barrier and you have a difficulty with the your comprehension, then that's really going to be a big problem.
Yeah.
So I would say, I would tell them, like, this is how it's going to work when it comes to you working for a client outside the Philippines. English is a must. So
Mhm.
um if that's going to be a big challenge for you, then I think that's something that you have to work on and go back to us. So they can always reapply after 3 to 6 months, and then we will reevaluate. And
Mhm.
also, to point out, the entire interview, Rita, is also recorded. So when we present these candidates to the client, they will be able to see the recording of the interview, and they will be able to see, like, what the responses of the candidates were, if they were able to understand the question, or they just answered it right away, or something like that. So
I
yes,
love
that's
it.
our process currently. Yeah.
So what type of skill set do most of your VAs or executive assistants do? Like, what do they offer typically? Or is it based upon the needs of the client?
Yes, so right now we're at 22. So we have 22 VAs at the moment in the company, and I would say 16 or 15%, or 15 or 16 of the full-time virtual assistants are all executive assistant skills. So they'd be able to manage admin, ad hoc tasks like an executive assistant. And then we have 3 or 4 in the finance industry, so they
Mhm.
are QuickBooks certified, Zero certified. They I have one who is my cousin who is a CPA. So she does accounting for our Australian clients because she's also Australian based. So she helps clients with needing accounting help and taxation.
Mhm.
And all the rest of the remaining things are marketing, so social media, graphic designing, video editing, and podcasts. So yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a lot. How do you delegate that many people at one time? That's a lot.
Yeah, so delegation is actually depending on the client. So some clients, they are already in the business for over 10 years or more, or 5 years. So these clients are already, I would say, they already have a process, they already have a system to use. So the VA will just use that system, or for example, a CRM, where they will just have to, or project management tool, I would say, they will assign the task to the VA, and then if the VA has this skill set of those tools, then it's easier for them to execute the tasks. But for those that are just new business owners, like 2 to 3 years old or below, or even the one that you mentioned, which is businesses that are running solo, like
Yeah.
they're the owner of the business and they also run the business. So yeah, so those that are just new, we would always expect that they don't have any system at all. So they just use Google Drive, that's it, and then Zoom. So we would always give recommendations to our clients, Rita, depending on how they want to use them, and also with their budget, because we always expect that these new clients running their business for over less than a year or three years, they wouldn't, they wouldn't pay that much yet for a virtual assistant full time. Usually it's always part time. So we recommend, or we give them recommendations when it comes to using systems that is based on what their need is and what their function,
Hmm.
and according to what they can afford at the same time. And
Yeah.
that's gonna give them the benefit, of using your VA with this tool, and you'll be able to organize everything from scratch. So yeah.
So you're kind of advising them along the way of what you feel like they may need based on
Yes,
your experience.
yes, yes.
Um, so who is your target audience for your services?
So right now, most of the clients that we are working together with in the US are in the IT industry. So I
Mhm.
myself, I was working for an IT MSP business for over 4 years, 5 years actually, and then my other executive assistants are also in the IT MSP business. So that's our focus industry at the moment. And then in Australia, it's all finance, so accounting and taxation. So those clients that need accounting help, when it comes to using Zero and QuickBooks, and also social media, which is the newest platform that we were. I think that's the newest industry that we were getting projects last year at the third or last quarter of 2023. So yeah, so social media, and also at the same time with recording video. So it's all in the marketing industry. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's take a quick pause in the conversation. Are you a mom struggling to get your business the attention it deserves? Wish you had a reliable way to connect with customers seeking out your business? The Mom Owned and Operated Business Directory is your solution. Get discovered, build valuable connections, and give your business the boost it needs. Visit momownedandoperated.com to learn more. Now, let's get back to this inspiring interview. So, with the social media, because I think that would be probably the most applicable to this audience, what would you offer in for them in social media?
So for social media, we have two current packages at the moment, and it's all focused on small businesses. So
Mm-hmm.
small, medium businesses, and it's on a recurring monthly, subscription. And
Of course.
there's no term, so you can cancel anytime with this service. And then what we offer really is first engagement, right? That's the very first thing. You want to make sure that we're not just growing your following, we're not just growing your audience, but at the same time targeting the right ones. And then the second is building your brand, which is really, really something that most businesses would not have, I would say, because yeah, they have a logo, they have this stock photos, but the brand is not there. Like if you read
Mm-hmm.
or if you look at their content on social media, you won't be able to relate or understand what their business is, or what are the clients that they're trying to attract. And at the same time, we build your profile and optimize them. So initially for social media projects, Rita, we do the digital marketing assessment. So that digital marketing assessment is going to give you your rough number of your online presence all across the internet. So not just Facebook, Instagram. So we dig deep into your analytics on your Facebook, all of your social media platforms, also e-commerce. So that's the most recent client that we have last month. So we did all of her digital marketing assessment from social media, Amazon, Etsy, Pinterest, and then we checked about the inventory with Shopify. And we're gonna give you the numbers, what you currently stand and what we would recommend, and what's the timeline, which is very important because most clients will always ask, how long are we going to take to how long is it going to take for us to reach this amount of sale or this amount of followers, or when are we going to launch another brand or another product or something like that. So we will give you the recommendations or the actionable items on that digital marketing assessment, and then you will have to approve whether we're going to implement them or not. So yes.
Love that. Yeah, I'm all about timelines and,
Yes.
providing the checklist of, okay, we're going to do XYZ and this is our starting point. This is where we're trying to go. I love that. I think that that's the best way to do it. Instead of just saying, look, I'll offer you 10 social media posts a month. I'll do this for you. I'll do, 10 posts a month. And that sounds great, but it's really not going to get you to where you need to go. And I think that a lot of times because, I'm really into branding, oftentimes the profile is the number one, the thing that's
Yes.
really missing
Mm.
the most. I think oftentimes it's really they're not optimized, or they're completely off the mark. They don't know what they're nobody knows even what they're doing. There's no links to websites. There's nothing on there at all. So I think if somebody wants to just review their own profiles, they could probably get themselves halfway there
Yeah.
really quickly. Okay, so my favorite question that I always ask is, what are you doing, pardon me, for yourself? Like, how are you doing this? There's a lot of business stuff going on, and then you have your stepson, which is a lot going on as well, especially with his extra needs. What are you doing for yourself? Like, what do you do for, self-care for you, Miriam?
Very good. That's really nice. And yeah, so initially before I wear my mom hat in a day, I always go out like 5:30 in the morning with my dogs. I have two dogs, so they've been, because in the Philippines it's very difficult to have them as a support dog, but I consider them as family and support dog for me. So ever since I started getting my dogs, Rita, it's been very it's helping me a lot to get better with mental health, right? And so I walk my dogs in 5:30 in the morning when I wake up, and then that's going to be like 30 minutes. And then when I go back, I get to prepare breakfast with my son because he's going to be going to school at 7. So his dad's going to bring him to school before like 6:30. So we're going to prepare breakfast for him. And then after that is I listen to Jim Quick's I don't know if you know Jim Quick. So I listened to
Mhm.
his podcast. So he's like a coach for, I think he had like a brain tumor or something like that, a brain
Mhm.
injury. And then his podcast talks about brain focus, how you would want your brain to function efficiently in a day. Yes.
Mhm.
So it helps you. He gives like insights about talking about brain focus and what is the right diet for your brain, something like that. Because
Love
I'd
it.
say in this time of age, and it's in this type of, life that I have, where I get to think of so many things, I don't know what to prioritize, I don't know what to do first. I get to tell myself that everything's going to be priority, so you have to do all of them. So so Jim Quick was really very, very specific when it comes to making sure that you're able to focus a day at a time.
Yeah.
And also last year I decided to study caregiving, and at the same time health, um, being a licensed practical nurse. And that decision of going to that route was because of my stepson. Because initially when I started taking care of him, it was very difficult, building, and at the same time building a good relationship with your stepsons, and also his needs, like understanding his needs. And when we did his assessment of his brain, or his intellectual quotient, or whatever that is being called, he was like 6 years old, Rita. So
Mhm.
you wouldn't be able to understand the same as how a 16 years old would be, or what would be expected to understand. So yeah, so you're looking at a 16-year-old, but his brain functions like a 6-year-old. So
Mhm.
that's really a very big challenge. And yeah, but I've been very happy already since last year, where I finished, the study of caregiving, and at the same time understanding kids with special needs like him. And that really helped me cope a lot with what's going on. And also the business was really successful last year. We've been reaching so many clients, and the business was also very successful in growing the network, right? And
Mhm.
yeah, I think last year was really the highlight of the business all across. But as for me, what changed this year is that I get to do my vision board. Very funny. So I attended 2 sessions of my vision board for a client in Canada. So they did like vision board sessions. So I attended two. I created my vision boards, and what's gonna be the goal for me for the next 5 years, or something like that. And I've
Yeah.
been very happy. Yes, and I also attended yoga classes already. So
Love it.
yes, which is really, I think, outside of just looking at the computer, working hard so much every day, and all the house chores, which is really taking a toll of me. I would say you would also be able to relate.
Yes, definitely. Well, I put my kids to work. Um, but and I try to make it to the gym about 6 days a week. So I'm definitely trying to prioritize myself nowadays, and especially now that my kids are teenagers. And so yeah, I definitely can relate to that. So I think it's important. I think that I said this the other day, when I made a quick video saying, like, thank you to everybody for 10 years of business. And I said, if I was really prepared, I would have made like ten lessons or something that I learned, over the years or something. But I think the biggest lesson that I've learned over time is like essentially like build your life. Build your business around your life and not your life around your business. And when I first started, I definitely was building my life around my business. I was obsessed with my business. I had a lot to prove. I needed to show everyone that I could do this. And I was working myself to death, and it was just not healthy. And so now I'm like, oh, it's time for me to take care of myself. And so I'm glad to hear that you're doing stuff for yourself now as well. um
Yeah.
so where can everyone find you online? Where are you at?
Yes, so we're on Instagram, Onboard VA, and we're also on Facebook. So you can check out onboard/VA or Onboard VA, and feel free to have a chat over there. I'll be the one to respond right away on those social
Perfect.
media platforms. And yes, we're really excited for clients to decide, and to move forward to the next level of delegating tasks to virtual assistants, because I think in the next 5 or 10 years, there's going to be a high demand of this kind of industry, and we don't want you to be left behind. Yeah.
Well, I definitely think that, having an assistant, it helps you, as especially as a solo business owner, it helps you grow a lot faster
Yeah.
because you're able to focus on generating more income
Mm.
versus being caught into those daily tasks.
Yes. Yes.
So I recommend to my clients to always hire as soon as possible,
Mm.
and
Mm.
that's usually right away. And no matter if it's getting someone for the smallest tasks and this build up from there, I do think that you need help right away. And I wish that I would have started hiring a lot sooner. So thank you, Miriam, so much for coming on. I appreciate it. It's been such a pleasure chatting with you.
Thank you, Rita. Thank you for having me.
And there you have it. I want to encourage you to remember that being a mom who runs her own business is not easy. We all struggle, but just keep moving forward and don't forget to make time for yourself. As moms, we are usually the first thing to go to the bottom of the list. If your business is overwhelming you and you need real solutions, not just some sugar-coated suggestions, apply to work with me at ritasuzanne.com/apply.